Ninjas and anime, the two seem to go together like peanut butter and jelly, or Abbott and Costello, or a nerd and his camera. Ever since man picked up a camera, there have been ideas of making films about ninjas. Thousands of books, manga, anime, just you name it, a ninja has been on it. Although, the true story about ninjas is not even close to how they're actually portrayed, but that doesn't matter. What matters is ninjas kick ass. So why not make a few animes and video games about them? And that, my friends, is where Naruto comes in.
To be perfectly honest with you guys, Naruto really shouldn't count as a ninja anime in my opinion. Now before you all start freaking out, please let me explain. I can accept that these characters can use magic and summon stuff, that's not why I think this is not a ninja series. It's because the series is too focused on action rather than stealth for its main cast of ninjas, and they all wear bright clothing all the damn time, and never attack from hiding, always charging out front with their highly explosive attacks drawing attention to themselves. In fact, it's always the bad guys that are the quiet ones, and don't even get me started on Naruto.
Whoa. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to get too carried away. Now, all that being said, do not misinterpret me. I actually really like Naruto. I like the characters, I like most of their story arcs, and the action is very appealing to me. I just don't think of it as a ninja anime. But, because I like the series so much, I'm dedicating this and 2 other episodes to one of my favorite series of all time, Naruto Ultimate Ninja.
The Ultimate Ninja series is all about fun. Pure, stress-free fun. With a few exceptions. Each game does its best to give you the Ultimate Naruto experience and is leagues above the Clash of Ninja games, which was its competition at the time. Well, at least until the Revolution series. Then there was Rise of a Ninja with its sequel Broken Bond, the Ninja Storm series, but until then, these were the best of the best. Some may compare this series to a Super Smash Bros. Ripoff from its style of gameplay, but that comparison barely has anything to stand on. Make no mistake that this series does enough to be called its own thing and expands on its ideas with each entry. Now, that's not to say that these games are flawless, far from it. These games definitely have their fair share of problems, with each game attempting to fix the previous issues while adding new ones. That being said, the Ultimate Ninja series is still a classic among Naruto fans and gamers alike. The trilogy was released in the US and Europe in 2006, 7, and 8 for the PlayStation 2, over a year after the next generation of consoles were released, though the games were put out in Japan in 2003, 4, and 5, so it's not too odd that people might not remember these games.
Part 1 of the series was released on June 26, 2006 by Bandai Namco. It is without a doubt the worst in the series, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It does have its selling points, especially since it's much cheaper than the other two.
Though I can't say that these points guarantee a buy, I'll leave that to you guys. So without further delay, let's dive into Naruto Ultimate Ninja. The story mode for Ultimate Ninja is called Scenario Mode, and it's just as it sounds. You pick your starting character, which is Naruto, OVS, and it puts you through a set of fights with still image cutscenes to set up the reason for the match. As you complete each character's scenario, you unlock more fighters' stories, though I wouldn't call them stories since the fights don't really bridge together any of the characters' arcs in the show, or even an original story. There are occasionally slight glimpses of those moments for certain scenarios, but not enough to form a cohesive story. Though, if this has you worried, don't be. I think they did this pretty well with each character's scenario. They feel complete in their own right, and seeing how the mode goes on for 12 characters, you'll have plenty of content. It took me about 4 hours to do every one scenario, and this isn't even counting the mission mode. In mission mode, you can select various objectives to complete during fights, like defeat the opponent while they have high attack, or don't get hit once during the fight, stuff like that. And there are a ton of missions to complete, from D to S ranked missions. These will keep you busy for a while. And FYI, this is how you unlock the last 2 characters, so if you're a completionist, you might want to get on it. Ultimate Ninja features 12 playable characters with 2 secret characters that can be unlocked in mission mode. For one of the first Naruto games on the PS2, the roster is fine, I guess. It's a hell of a lot better than Clash of Ninja for the GameCube, which only had 8. The list goes like this. The game has Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Rock Lee, Neji, Kakashi, Haku, Zabuza, Orochimaru, Gaara, Shikamaru, and Hinata. This set of characters is not enough to get through an arc, but as I mentioned before, they made up for that by making multiple story modes for each character. The best part is each character does feel unique for their style, as well as having unique animations for movement or specific attacks on some characters. Gaara, for instance, has the best defense as you would expect, but he's the slowest of the bunch. Also, to make up for his speed, his basic punches throw like in the anime, and have a pretty good reach, so if you practice enough, you can become the master of the sand. Or if defense and range isn't your thing, then pick Lee or Neji. They're all about being up close and personal, and each of their ultimate attacks does some serious damage while unlocking a special form at level 3, with Lee being super strong and Neji having the ability to deplete your chakra with each punch. The point is, there's a character for everyone, so experiment and see which one works for you. That, or just pick Naruto, assuming he's the average. Now, the two secret fighters you can unlock are Curse Mark Sasuke and Nine-Tails Naruto. To be honest, there isn't much of a difference, except for the higher attack power and possibly being a little faster. They both have the same movesets as their normal counterparts. The only real difference is the appearance of the character, and their intro as well. I'll say that I think these characters look cool and can kick some serious ass, but seeing as how you have to play mission mode like crazy to get them, it isn't worth it to me. There's not even a special chapter for them in the scenario mode, so yeah, I say don't bother. Naruto Ultimate Ninja is a 2D tournament fighter with a few neat little add-ins like being able to use various weapons during your fights that you pick up through random drops. But I think before I get ahead of myself, the best way to explain the combat is to first to explain what's on screen. On the top screen you have your time limit and health, which is pretty self-explanatory, but then right under the health bar you have a Chakra Meter. Yeah, you don't see those in your typical everyday fighting game. Your Chakra Meter is used to activate your ultimate jutsus, or secret techniques as games like to call them. The meter starts full, but using your jutsu depletes it. There are two kinds to attempt during a fight. The regular, which will only take a small amount and is done by the simple D-pad combination by either using up circle or down circle. Then there's your ultimate jutsu, which is used by pressing the triangle and hitting your opponent. And the best part is you can use 3 different ultimate jutsus, which can be achieved by pressing the triangle button multiple times. However, you do need to build your chakra meter all the way for your most powerful attack. As you can tell from the various colors on the chakra meter, your character even changes to that color so you can determine which one you're about to use.
I mean, could you imagine knowing what somebody was going to do by having them change their color? I wonder what that would look like.
Hey, are you making a video?
Huh? How'd you know?
Come on, man.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be weird.
What's even more interesting about your ultimate attack is what happens when your secret technique hits. Instead of just being a small cinematic, the game keeps you engaged by adding some time button presses. If you can hit each button on the list within the time limit, your attack gets to continue and do even more damage, and depending on which fighter you're using, you can stack this up to 3 times with a special bonus. And not to worry, once you run out of chakra, you can just power up by holding down on the D-pad and your chakra will start to build up. Though it will take some time, so be sure you're at a safe distance. Certain characters in the series have special powers, and you have access to all of them by doing your ultimate jutsus like Sasuke's Sharingan, Neji's Byakugan, or even Rock Lee's ability to open the 8 gates. Each one of these gives your players a massive power-up and the special abilities. The Sharingan copies the fighting style of who you're fighting, the Byakugan reduces chakra with each hit, and Rock Lee just beats your face in. It's a very interesting thing to add, giving certain characters that wild factor of, oh god, I hope they don't use that move. However, your opponent can do the button combination to reduce the damage by half, which really only happens when you're playing with a friend. That's just your special techniques. We haven't even touched the regular combat, so now we will. To do any form of punch, you press circle. That's it. The game only utilizes one button for hitting the opponent, and it really works since it's more about how and where you punch from that determines what attack you use. You can either use up, down, left, or right on the D-pad in combination with the circle for various hits. And if I could use one more comparison, it's like in Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, how the game is really more or less a Dragon Ball Z simulator rather than a hardcore fighting game. Well, for the time, that's what this was. The combat doesn't need a complex set of buttons or intense combo system. Just give us a game that looks nice, has solid gameplay, and works. Plus, if the combat still sounds too simplistic for you, don't worry. That's where your throwing weapons comes in. In each fight, you can find a few randomly generated weapons to gain the upper hand on your opponent. Like, oh, I'm out of chakra and you're about to kill me? Well, I just picked up a full chakra object and I'm unleashing my ultimate move. Suck it, bitch. There are also small health pickups, bombs, shurikens, which are my personal favorite, and a few others I'll let you find out for yourself. The controls are as simple as can be. To move, you use either the D-pad or the left stick, though I recommend you use the D-pad since the arenas aren't three-dimensional. It just feels more natural. You attack with the circle button, or you can combo it with the directional for different hits. X is your jump, and triangle is used to set up for your secret techniques. Guarding is mapped to the L2 or R2. Also with your items, in order to use them or throw a shuriken, you press square, and to switch which item you have, you press either L1 or R1. You can also shoot forward at your opponent by double tapping X, as well as being able to jump backwards by pressing X with the directional. I told you, simple, easy to use controls like a lot of fighting games. Plus it has a very pick up and play feel to it, so anybody can jump in, much like Super Smash Bros., Mortal Kombat, or Soul Calibur. In terms of how they feel, I'd say the controls are fairly tight. There's honestly no lag I can see from button press to game action. It all seems to go pretty smooth. I'll say it, CyberConnect 2 knew what they were doing. The level design is very well done. There are 12 stages of fight in total, each with a very unique style. You've got all the locations from the first 80 episodes of the series that you would expect, like the Robin Shop, the Chunin Exam Stadium, Kikyo Castle, even levels from the village hidden in the mist and sand. But that's not all. Each stage has two planes of fighting in the foreground and background, which you can switch on the spot by pressing up and X. Certain stages even include little hazards or set pieces that affect you. On the Kikyo Castle stage, you start off in a barrier that you can break away to enter the background, and on top of that, the giant snake will occasionally shoot fire. I mean, how badass is that? Also, each stage has breakable objects with randomly generated items to increase your speed, strength, or give a new weapon, for a one-time use that can really come in handy. Characters will even pop in to drop you a heart that will summon them for a special buddy attack that does about as much damage as your regular special move. The character design is pretty good, using cel-shaded graphics to resemble the manga more than the anime, with rendered lines over the character models, and the fact that before each fight the opponents share a few words in a comic strip. Every character looks exactly as they should from their point in the series, and there really isn't any clipping that I can notice. Though it seems like some sections of the models are a bit blocky, but that's hardly a reason to stop playing. The music in the game is another positive that kept getting better as the series went on. It has a ton of energy with some Asian inspiration. The music isn't remixes of the series tracks, it's mostly original, but fits perfectly in place with the series as if it was composed just for the show. But of course there are tracks from the show thrown in certain parts, like when you do character story mode, they'll play a track to set the mood. The downside I would say for this game is that the music is kind of forgettable. I mean, I like it, I don't think it ruins anything from the game, but I couldn't hum a track if you asked. But as I said before, the music just kept getting better with each game, so this was only a temporary problem. There are a handful of problems, but none that I would say break the game, but enough that they must be addressed. First off is the audio. Usually it's fine in the menus, cutscenes, and special move cinematics, but in the fights themselves the audio is terrible, like it was recorded with a bad microphone or just terribly mixed. I mean, that doesn't make sense. The other sections have good audio, but when the fights start, the quality dies like Naruto's chances with Sakura. I mean, everybody knows he's saving himself for Sasuke. Anime? Jokes. Another issue would be the enemy AI with certain characters. They tend to spam their best moves or constantly throw shurikens. But like I said, it's not with every character, just with Haku, Gaara, and Orochimaru. Others seem okay for the most part, but still fall into that classic old school game rule of running away when low on health. Or the AI will start spamming techniques and dodging like a pro.
Or as I like to call them, assholes.
One of the smaller problems I have is the character roster. It's pretty small with a total of 12 and 2 hidden characters. That's not much to work with, but as I already said, it was a lot better than what we were getting with Clash of Ninja on the GameCube with only 8. Plus, the other two in the trilogy really step it up with a lot more characters, so it's not a big deal in the long run. This does, however, bring up one of the bigger issues I have, and that's you have to beat just about every single mission to get the special forms of Naruto and Sasuke, which is not worth it. If you're gonna give me an extra character, make it something impressive like Jiraiya or Gaara in his demon form. That would be something.
And that's pretty much all the problems I have with the game. Everything else in the game is either great or it just gets the job done. But now that all that's over, it's time to wrap things up with a little history lesson.
The game was developed by CyberConnect 2 and released on October 23rd, 2003 in Japan, but surprisingly it wasn't released anywhere else in the world until 3 years later, in June 23rd, 26th, and November 17th in Europe, North America, and Australia. The game was met with some pretty good reviews, averaging around 7 to 8 out of 10 for most publications, though to be honest, I'd lower the score today, but can see why it was received that way 9 years ago. Now CyberConnect 2 I think needs no introduction. Today they've made a name for themselves with this franchise and have never let down on one title. If anything, they keep getting better. They started off in 1998 with a little classic called Tail Concerto, which was met with decent reviews but gained a cult following, and even a mobile sequel in 2014. Not too long after that, they got a break making dot hack games, releasing 3 in 1 year. Dot Hack Infection, Outbreak, and Mutation, which each game doing fairly well. They were given the opportunity to make a fighting game based on the Naruto franchise, which did just as well as their Dot Hack games. And speaking of which, they continued to make Dot Hack games all the way into 2012 with Dot Hack Versus. They rode the success of these two franchises for years, but eventually started branching out with more original IPs like Soul Turbo and Asura's Wrath. And in recent years released JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, All-Star Battle, and Eyes of Heaven. As far as the Ultimate Ninja series is concerned, it definitely has its place in anime fighting game history, spanning 11 years and 15 games, some of which being Ultimate Editions, but still, it's an impressive record, which I think should be commended by not just Naruto fans, but gamers. Think about it, 15 titles and none of them suck. Wow.
In the end, Naruto Ultimate Ninja is a good game, but as I said earlier, I find it hard to recommend for its lack of characters, its poorly recorded audio, and occasionally stupid or cheap AI. But I think it's saved due to solid controls and gameplay. And its cheap-ass price. So, but you know what? Sequels aside, go for it. It is a great game on its own, okay? Definitely check it out if you get the chance. And you know what? Maybe one day I'll review the sequels, eventually. But until then, Naruto Ultimate Ninja gets a 6 out of 10. I'll see you guys next time. That was easy. What the? Ha!
Got you now.
Oh, Eugene. So you found your way out, did you?
How could you do this to me? You said you just wanted a cameo.
Yeah, I know I said I was gonna do that, but you know, I thought it'd be better just to take your show.
And you ain't getting my show because you made a mistake. You left me in the weapons locker. Now get out.
You may have stopped me today, but I'll be back. I'll let you have the show for now. But you remember that. One day, when you least expect it, your show will be mine!
He'll be back. But I'll be ready. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll be back to my old self. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.